Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, we are continuing this second chapter. Namabhasa as unintentional pious activity may be classified into four types: Sanketa, Parihasa, Stoba, and Hela. Chanting in Sanketa or indirectly means that one chants the name of Vishnu or Krishna with a specific material conception, or chants the holy name unintentionally while thinking of some other object with same sound. An example of first type is Ajamila, who called the name of his son, who happened to be named Narayana. He chanted the name of Vishnu, but with the intention of calling his son. Still, he was saved from the Yamadutas and eventually attained Vaikuntha. An example of second type of Sanketa is the Yavana, who exclaims Haram when dying, because the syllables Ha and Ram are present, forming a name of the Lord accidentally. That person attains liberation. Because this type of Namabhasa is the least offensive, the power of the holy name is intact to a large degree. One who utters the name of the Lord in Parihasa, a joking mood, such as Jarasandha, also crosses over the material world, uttering the name in the Stoba or derision. As Shishupala did, can also cut the chains of material existence. Uttering the name in Hela or disregard without attention also brings benefit. The Mlechas attain liberation by all these types of Namabhasa. These types of Namabhasa, coincidence, jest, derision, and disregard, being without real faith in Krishna, are situated to the lower border of Namabhasa. On the other hand, if one has genuine faith in Krishna and takes to the holy name while others are still present, the stage is called Shraddha Namabhasa. Since even by chanting in Namabhasa without faith, one can attain liberation. How can one describe the results of chanting in Namabhasa with faith? By chanting in Namabhasa, one can get everything except prema. If one gets to the point of Shraddha Namabhasa, quickly the anarthas will go and pure name will be revealed. Chanting the pure name Suddhanama, one will certainly get prema very quickly. It may be concluded, therefore, that Namabhasa itself cannot give Krishna prema, but by progressing from this stage to the stage of Shuddhanama, by means of following rules of sadhana as laid down by the Guru, one can get love of God. Thus, provided one does not commit Namaparada, Namabhasa is praiseworthy. It is considered unlimited times better than karma or jnana because a person with such namabhasa will eventually get faith. That seed of faith will then develop into attraction and taste for Krishna, which will lead to the stage of Shuddhanama and then Prema. Avasa means a faint light or indirect image. It is two types: reflected light and obstructed light. Similarly, there are two types of faint faith: reflected or distorted faith, and shadow or partial faith. From partial faith comes dim namabhasa, which eventually develops into the pure name and love of God. This is classed as actual namabhasa, just as clouds obstruct the full brilliance of the sun, so the clouds of anarthas and the mist of ignorance in the jiva's heart allow only a faint light of the name to enter. Though having the opportunity to take pure faith, other living entities takes a distorted faith, which is compared to the light reflected from water. The light is broken and image not intact. When people with distorted faith receives the holy name, the name that they take is also distorted. Such people are characterized by deeply rooted desire for enjoyment and liberation. to the extent they strive day and night to fulfill their desire for their enjoyment and liberation. Because such people may use the name, they may appear to have faith in the name, but it's not actual faith. If one takes the name with the faith, no matter how long one continues, one will not progress to purification, but will remain at the same perverted stage continually. Instead, such practice usually leads to Mayavada mentality, and finally one becomes a cheater. Such a person thinks that holy name is simply means to higher hand, and by such mentality, the glory and power of the name become lost. The only result is offensive. Here is the difference between real namabasa, where due to obstruction, the effects of name are felt faintly, and distorted namabasa. In real namabasa, many anarthas may be generated out of ignorance and weakness of heart, but all these effects can be cleared by continual chanting of the name. However, in distorted namabasa, born from cheating knowledge, offenses simply increase. This is not called namabasa, but namaparada. The Mayavadis consider Krishna, his name, form, leela, and qualities to be false and imperishable. On this ground, they will never receive love of God, for such a path leads to opposite direction from path of devotional service or bhakti. Thus, there can be no real compromise between the two paths. The Mayavada philosophy is considered the enemy of bhakti, and its followers are considered the greatest offenders. Actually, the holy name never comes from the mouths of these people. For although the syllables may be heard, the holy name, with all its transcendental potency, does not reside there. The Mayavadi chanting the name in this way simply goes to hell because he thinks that name is temporary and material. While chanting the name, Mayavadi desires enjoyment and liberation. By being so deceptive and chanting with motivation, he receives only pain for all his troubles. I think I can stop here. So I think today we're talking about Namabasa. There are different types. It can be classified into different types: Sanketa, Parihasa, Stoba, and Hela. You know, chanting in Sanketa is indirectly meaning one chants Vishnu with a specific material conception. Here, the example given is the first type of Sanketa indirect chant. Namabasa is Ajamila, who called his son, name of his son, but also it happened to be a name of Narayana. And the second example is Sanketa is a Yavanas who climbs Haram, when dying, which includes the syllables Ha and Ra. And in the Parihasa joking mood, Jarasandha was an example, and uttering the name in Stoba is like a Shishupala, and uttering the name in Hela disregard, there are natures, attain liberation by all these types of Namabasa. And then when one has the genuine faith in Krishna, takes the holy name while anarthas are still present, that stage is called Shraddha Namabasa. So here it concluded that Namabasa itself cannot give Krishna prema, but by progression from this stage to the stage of Shuddha Nama, one can by following the rules of sadhana as instructed by Guru, one can get love of Godhead. And in the Abhasa means faint light, indirect image. There are two types: reflected and obstructed light. Also, similarly, there are two faiths, fainted faith and distorted faith, or shadow faith or partial faith. Here it's give the example of how clouds obstruct the brilliance of the sun. When the clouds of anarthas and the mist of ignorance, only allow the faint light of the name to enter in the jiva's heart. So, and here it says that distorted namabasa born from cheating the knowledge often simply increase. This is not called namabasa; it is a namaparad. So here, yeah, talk about Namabasa, Namaparada. So ultimate thing is, Namabasa is still 1,000 times better than, fruitive activities or jnana or karma. And by following the instructions of Guru, one can, doing the sadhana, one can move from Nama Basa to a Shuddha Nama, and then only one can get a love of Godhead, is pure love of Godhead. I think we can